Hey guys, Liam here. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Welcome back to another episode of Form Fight. Form Fight is a series where we take a look at a Pokemon with more than one form, or a branched evolution, or a counterpart Pokemon. We have a look at the differences between the Pokemon in question, and we try and work out which one is the best. And so we can see these Pokemon in action on the battlefield. We also have a Metronome battle between them just for a little bit of fun. It's literally just for fun. Don't take it too seriously. Some people cry about it in the comments. Not that. Just shut up. If you're a fan of Form Fight already and you're ready for more, make sure you hit the like button, show you're enjoying this series. Let's go for 1,000 if we can. Can we get 1,000 on a brand new episode of Form Fight? And of course, hit subscribe if you're new so you never miss any of my content. But of course, with all that out of the way, let's have a look at today's challenges. Today on Form Fight, we're going to be comparing the two forms of Calyrex, which are Ice Rider Calyrex and Shadow Rider Calyrex. And I'll also include the main, regular version of it, because I know people will whinge if I don't. Regular Calyrex can be found at Crown Tundra's Crown Shrine at the end of the King of Bountiful Harvest quest, and will be in Ice Rider form if you planted carrot seeds at Snowside Slope, or in Shadow Rider form if you planted the seeds at the Old Cemetery. Using the Reins of Unity key item with an empty slot in your party will transform Calyrex into its regular form, as well as adding Glastria or Spectria into the party, depending on whether Calyrex had been changed from its Ice Rider form or Shadow Rider form, respectively. Similarly, using the Reins of Unity with regular Calyrex and Glastria in your party will remove Glastria and change Calyrex into Ice Rider form, and using them with regular Calyrex and Spectria in your party will remove Spectria and change Calyrex into Shadow Rider form. But what makes these forms of Calyrex so different? Let's take a look. According to the Pokedex, regular Calyrex stands at 1.1 meters tall and weighs 7.7 kilograms. Its Pokedex information says Calyrex is a merciful Pokemon capable of providing healing and blessings. It reigned over the Galar region in times of yore. Calyrex is known in legend as a king that ruled over Galar in ancient times. It has the power to cause hearts to mend and plants to spring forth. Ice Rider Calyrex stands at 2.4 meters tall and weighs 809.1 kilograms. Its Pokedex information says, according to lore, this Pokemon showed no mercy to those who got in its way, yet it would heal its opponent's wounds after battle. It's said that this Pokemon once moved a large forest and all the Pokemon living there to a new location overnight. Shadow Rider Calyrex stands at 2.4 meters tall as well and weighs 53.6 kilograms. According to the Pokedex, it's said that Calyrex and a Pokemon that had bonded with it ran all across the Galar region to bring green to the wastelands. Legend says that by using its power to see all events from past to future, this Pokemon saved the creatures of a forest from a meteor strike. Appearance-wise, Calyrex looks like some kind of humanoid deer or rabbit, depending who you ask, with grey and white fur, as well as green arm fur and green and blue kind of petal or leaf-like protrusions on its back, as well as a collar made of green baubles with blue and silver Triforce designs on them, as well as a giant Brussels sprout on its head acting as a crown. It's not really a Brussels sprout, but that's what it looks like, let's face it. In Ice Rider form and Shadow Rider form, Calyrex is simply seen riding Glastria or Spectria respectively, with its arm fur extending back in a kind of cape and keeping control of its steed with the blue Reins of Unity. Honestly, in terms of form change, it's really not that inspired. In their shiny forms, Calyrex's silver fur changes to gold, and the blue and green of its crown and petals become a little bit lighter. Annoyingly, the horse Pokemon does not change to its shiny variant, which is a shame because Spectria has a beautiful shiny, but we'll cover that in the next Form Fight. Now let's have a look at their typing, weaknesses, and resistances. Regular Calyrex is a dual-type Psychic and Grass Pokemon, which makes it weak to Flying, Poison, Bug, Ghost, Fire, Ice, and Dark-type attacks, with the Bug-type weakness being a 4x weakness. It resists Fighting, Ground, Water, Grass, Electric, and Psychic-type moves, and has no immunities. Ice Rider Calyrex is a dual-type Psychic and Ice Pokemon, which makes it weak to Rock, Bug, Ghost, Steel, Fire, and Dark-type moves. It resists Psychic and Ice-type moves, and again has no immunities. And finally, Shadow Rider Calyrex is a dual-type Psychic and Ghost Pokemon, making it weak to only Ghost and Dark-type attacks, although both those weaknesses are 4x weaknesses. It resists Poison and Psychic-type moves, and is completely immune to Normal and Fighting-type moves. Now let's have a look at the stats and abilities of these Pokemon forms. In its regular form, Calyrex's stats aren't particularly impressive, being basically the same as Glalie, but with 20 base HP added on. Its stats are fairly average across the board, but this does mean you can build your Calyrex in a variety of different ways, I guess. Its only ability is Unnerve, which makes opponents too nervous to eat their held berries, which is kind of ironic since it's supposed to be the King of Bountiful Harvest, so it can cause incredible amounts of berries to grow, but if it's around, people will be too nervous to eat them. Okay. Ice Rider Calyrex loses a good chunk of speed, but more than doubles its attack, as well as doubling its defense and gaining an extra 50 base special defense, giving it much more bulk than the regular version and incredible firepower. It also gains 5 base special attack, which seems like a bit of a waste. Its only ability is As One, which gives Ice Rider Calyrex both regular Calyrex's Unnerve ability and Glastria's Chilling Neigh ability simultaneously, meaning its opponents will be too nervous to eat berries, and whenever this Pokemon knocks out an opponent, it will gain a +1 attack boost. Ice Rider Calyrex also learns its signature move, Glacial Lance, upon transformation, which is a 130 base power, 100% accuracy, Ice-type physical move, which damages all adjacent opponents. If Calyrex and Glastria are separated, this move will be forgotten. Shadow Rider Calyrex has a much lower attack and defense stat than the Ice Rider form, and a good chunk less special defense, but almost double the special attack and 3 times the speed, making it what is probably best suited as a special attacking glass cannon, although even then it still has decent defenses. Its only ability, much like Ice Rider, is As One, which gives Shadow Rider Calyrex both regular Calyrex's Unnerve ability and Spectria's Grim Neigh ability, meaning foes are too nervous to eat berries and giving Calyrex a +1 special attack boost whenever it knocks one out. I meant knocks out an opponent, not the double entendre. Shadow Rider Calyrex also learns its signature move, Astral Barrage, upon transformation, which is a 120 base power, 100% accuracy, ghost-type special move which damages all adjacent opponents. If Calyrex and Spectria are separated, this move is forgotten. Now it's time for me to decide which of these forms of Calyrex I prefer, and it's not going to be the first one, the regular form, because I don't really like the look of Calyrex overall. I'm not that interested in it as a Pokemon, so that's kind of out of the way. I'm probably going to go with Shadow Rider form because I think out of all of them, it looks the coolest, and I like the idea that it is a special attacking glass cannon. I like that more than the bulky ice type, because I'm not really interested in ice types that much. They don't really do much for me. And I know Shadow Rider does have 2 4x weaknesses as its only weakness, which means if anyone has an advantage over it, they have a massive advantage over it. I just think the combination of how it looks and its speed and firepower are really, really appealing. But of course, it's not just up to me to decide, it's up to you guys to decide which is your favorite, and of course, let me know in the comments below when you have decided. But before we decide anything, let's see this Pokemon in action on the battlefield. It's time for the Metronome battle. Do bear in mind, the Metronome battle isn't a true test of whether the Pokemon is better or not. We just want to see him doing stupid moves, mate. Let's have fun. It's a horrible year, 2020. Let's just enjoy ourselves, yeah? As always, these Pokemon have max IVs in all stats, 0 EVs in all stats. They're holding leper berries because that's something we've started doing in Metromania now. By the way, go watch Metromania. It's way better than Form Fight. They have neutral natures, and of course, they only have access to the 1 ability, which is kind of 2 abilities anyway, so those are the abilities they will have. The only advantages or disadvantages any of these Pokemon gets comes from their typing or their base stats. Everything else is all up to the Metronome. But before we get into the battle, don't forget to use code ACE to save money on G Fuel, mate. Phase 10. I still can't work out what flavor it is, but it's really, really tasty. I would highly recommend it. Use code ACE to get yourself some money off. Oh, quick note before we start the battle, you can only fuse Calyrex with one of the horses once in your Sword or Shield game. So basically, once you've fused Calyrex with one of the horses, you can't then do it with a second Calyrex and a second horse. So I can't do a double battle like I did with Kyurem, like I did with Necrozma back in the day. We have to just have one fused Calyrex, and then we're going to have a regular Calyrex as well just alongside, so you can see that in battle as well. I've tried to make it a bit more interesting because I've made one team the shiny versions, but it's just one of the limitations we have to work with, because one of my switches I can't edit the save files on, so I can't directly go in and change it, and this is the best way around, I suppose. But anyway, on with the battle. Here we go, it's Calyrex Ice Rider form versus Calyrex Shadow Rider form. You notice, as I said previously, that we have to have a regular Calyrex on each team because the game won't allow us to have 2 of the fused forms in one game. Bit annoying, little bit annoying, because obviously I can only jiggle things around on one of my switches. I don't really want to do that to my other switch, so this is what we're doing as a compromise. Enjoy it. We see it as one, creating the Unnerve ability over and over again, just wasting so much time. It's fine, the video needs to be 8 minutes long. It's going to be longer than that, don't worry. Here we go. Shadow Rider starts things off. This is going to get so confusing. Shadow Rider is going for Incinerate, which is super effective on both Calyrex and Ice Rider Calyrex. So already massive damage dealt on turn 1, and the leper berries burned up. Although I just realized with Unnerve, no one's going to be able to eat berries anyway. So what was the point in that? Here we see Thrash
from Shiny Calyrex. I guess if someone uses Worry Seed or something, then someone can eat their berry. There you go. There's an option for you. Big brain. We see regular Calyrex going for Lovely Kiss onto which of its opponents? Oh, onto the Shiny Calyrex. There you go. Little kiss and a cuddle. How wonderful. What's going to happen next? I have no idea. We have the Ice Rider getting ready for its first move, and it's going to go for Flamethrower. Now, that would be super effective used on Calyrex, but it's on the Shadow Rider Calyrex, which means it's not, because the grass typing is gone in place of the ghost typing. So I know I don't have the regular Calyrex typing on screen. Didn't really plan for this. So they are Psychic and Grass, if you weren't paying attention. We see Smog avoided, and now Shiny Calyrex still fast asleep. Can't do anything. Over to regular Calyrex. What's it going to do here? It's going to go for Anchor Shot, which is a lovely Steel-type move. Onto the sleeping Shiny for a decent chunk of damage there. Not too bad at all. It can no longer escape, although that makes no difference in this Metronome contest. We see Ice Rider going for Vine Whip onto which of its opponents? Onto the Grass type, so not very effective at all there. And now we see everybody gearing up for the next round. I miss battle videos, man, when you didn't see the inputs. Those were the days. Bring that back in the next generation. We see Shadow Rider going for Taunt, which means that one of the Calyrex, it's the regular Calyrex there, is not going to be able to use Metronome. So that's a bit of a problem, because that means it's going to end up struggling. So it can't use Metronome. Shiny Calyrex has woken up from its nap. What's it going to do here? It's going to go for Crush Claw onto the bulky boy of the... Yeah, that didn't do much damage at all, but it did drop the defense of Ice Rider, who is now getting ready to retaliate. What will it do here? It's going to go for Dark Pulse, which will be super effective. Which Pokemon's it on, though? It's on the Shiny Calyrex. That's very, very lucky, because if it was on Shadow Rider, it would have been 4 times effective, and that could have been all she wrote for the Shadow Rider right there. Now, Shadow Rider does have a chance to respond to its partner Pokemon taking that much damage. Goes for Magma Storm, which will be super effective on either of these Pokemon. It's on the Ice type, though, on Ice Rider. How much damage? Not quite enough to... Oh, it is enough to take it down. Down goes Ice Rider. So now we're down to 1 Calyrex. There's the Grim Neigh, increasing the special attack by 1 stage of Shadow Rider. Now Shiny Calyrex has a chance to move. What's it going to do here? Going to go for Iron Head, which will be neutral on regular Calyrex there. Decent chunk of damage, though. Critical hit at that. Now, oh, and the flinch as well. That's so unfortunate. Poor Calyrex, who can only use Struggle at the moment, so it's probably going to knock itself out, to be honest. Here we see the Shadow Rider now. Easy work for Shadow Rider here. Going for Milk Drink, though. Going to increase its HP by 50% of maximum, depending where its health is. Yeah, so it's not going to do the full 50%, but it's going to bring itself back up to maximum, so it doesn't really matter there. Now, Shiny Calyrex has an opportunity to make a move, and it's going to go for Swallow, which will fail, because it's not stockpiled anything. There's the struggle from Calyrex. Is it going to be enough? Doesn't do much damage at all to Shiny Calyrex, but it does live on just 5 hit points. Shakes off the Taunt as well, which means that it can now use Metronome. Is it going to get the opportunity, though? That's the question. Here we see the Shadow Rider is ready and raring to go. Going to go for Eruption. Well, I don't think those 5 hit points are lasting. There it is. Massive, massive hit. Down goes regular Calyrex. So your winners are the Shadow Rider team. Well done to them. What a beautiful battle. What a mess, though. What a mess, but how beautiful it was. Just lovely.
So you've heard what I've got to say, you've seen these Pokemon on the battlefield, now it's time for you to make your decision. Which of the different forms of Calyrex do you prefer? Is it the regular boring one? Is it the Ice Rider form? Or is it the Shadow Rider form? Let me know in the comments below and explain to everybody why your pick is the absolute best. And that'll do it for another episode of Form Fight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like button. If you're new, hit the subscribe button, share the video with a friend. Come and hang out over on twitch.tv/AceTrainerLiam, become a subscriber over there. And of course, use code ACEMONEY off G Fuel. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.